I don't know, 3 days. Well, let's try it. Let's see what happens. We want to make it better for him and for us. Like, he deserves a better life, and so do we.
I'd much rather have a well-behaved man-eater than an out-of-control dog, because you can't do anything with an out-of-control friendly dog. A lot of people get into fix-it mode, which tells the dog all of this information of, what are you going to do? And I'm worried about this.
We rescued him about 4 months old from Georgia, and we realized that we've had him his whole life, so this is a lot our issue that we probably have created. He's just very fearful and very reactive. I don't feel confident or comfortable controlling him. I feel like he's too strong and I can't control him, so Carlo does all the walking and most of the care.
He's very reactive to just, when people walk by or if someone comes to the door, he absolutely loses his mind. There was an incident, I guess about 2.5 years ago. We had a friend come over, as a realtor. She came to the door, he ran to the door. He was maybe about 2, just turned 5. He gave her a warning bite. He bit her hand, didn't break the skin, just kind of, and at that point we brought him to the vet. He's been on Prozac since then for about 3 years.
He looks really not like that dog right now.
Sure.
But he is quite, this is wild to me, and maybe because you're all just super chill and everyone in our new neighborhood hates us because of this dog.
So again, there's a big difference between a professional and a dog lover. So there's a huge difference, and that's what you saw this morning. A bunch of professionals or people who work with dogs will come in and not look at the dog for the dog's sake, for the dog's benefit. Like, we don't know if this dog's gonna, whatever. And then somebody who loves dogs or somebody who is interested in dogs will do the opposite. And that's kind of our job, and that's where we splice down the middle. Like, we know you love your dog, but here's the reasons why you got to do X, Y, and Z. So anyway, I'm just talking out loud as we're talking that the reason why he's coming in here potentially and acting a little out of character, if you will, maybe because of that transition of like, oh, this is another place of boarding, maybe.
He gets to play with dogs.
There's not another dog in sight either, so that's another thing.
Is he typically pretty reactive to dogs?
Yes.
Okay. Now, do you guys have behaviors like heel and sit and?
He did. Yeah, he did. We went to puppy training with him, and so he knows the basics: sit, stay.
Okay.
He doesn't do heel.
Heel, he's not that good at.
Okay.
But.
Yeah, it's just going to be helpful to have the heel down, because technically, if your dog is good at heeling, they shouldn't be lunging, and it kind of transfers each other out. I'd much rather have a well-behaved man-eater than an out-of-control dog, because you can't do anything with an out-of-control friendly dog. So we're just going to start with developing leash pressure, developing engagement. That'll be the start to confidence, to let the dog know that he's not always going to be in charge. Okay, so I'm going to give this to you to put on. Okay. So this is very simple. So this is going to go as high behind his ears as you can, and then you're going to take this and just slide it on down.
Snug. Okay.
Yep. I'm just talking out loud to you guys what I'm doing. With a dog like this, he could be a sleeper, right? So I've had dogs that have been very like this, where they're not showing any signs of why they actually came in, and then all of a sudden, boom, they tag your leg.
Trigger something.
Correct. So I'm being very conscious of this, very mindful of this. I'm gonna get close to you guys, and then you guys just ignore him. So I'm not looking at him, I'm being very passive. My body is typically gonna be turned away from him like this. Good. Good job. Now I want you to watch how this leash pressure works. Do you see? I just basically took my hand and I cuffed it, and it just gave him a little resistance and he pulled back. Confidence 101 for me in this dog right now is to decrease the resistance I get as I'm moving away from you guys. Again, I want you to understand the big picture here, the macro of what we're doing. This all is going to help with his confidence, and ultimately will help with the reason why you came in, with his reactivity towards people, because his lack of confidence. Blue, come. So just a little bit of leash pressure. Good job. So he gets that bucking resistance thing, very common. It's basically him going, ugh.
Just gives up.
Yeah, he's like, fine. So I'm trying to decrease that. Blue, come. Good job, buddy. Good boy. I'm not petting him, I'm not touching him, although I certainly could right now if I wanted to. I don't do that because I work with so many reactive dogs and I don't want to overbear them. I have nothing to prove to say like, look what I can do right now. That's pushy, that's disrespectful. Just because I can doesn't mean I should. And I'm not doing that for that reason. I just want to point that out, that some people will be like, look, we're good. We are good, but I'm not going to pet him because I think that that's just distasteful and disrespectful. And I think it's just like, look what I can do. And I'm not doing that. Although I could, certainly not. Just want to point that out. So he comes out like this. So I give him a little bit of leash pressure. Blue, come. Yes, buddy, good boy. Good job. So that was 0 pressure. So he just committed to me just because I said, hey, let's go this way. So I'm gonna work on a little bit of directional leash pressure moving forward now again, just to keep him engaged. I wanna show you what that looks like, okay? So I'm gonna flick my wrist if he starts to walk past my legs. This is gonna be the introduction to heel. So historically, the heel command is the dog walking at your heels, okay? Heel. Give him a little bit of pressure, heel. Good. Good.
Wow.
So see that? He's starting to go, what are we doing? So that's good. That's what I was talking about, just right there. Like he doesn't look at you guys when you're walking. No. So I'm not like pulling him back. I'm not forcing him to stay here. He's just starting to pick up like, I have to be with this guy because if I don't, the pressure kind of turns on. So right now we're doing negative reinforcement. So if I apply pressure to him, the moment he commits to me, the pressure goes away.
If you guys like this video or any other piece of content I put out, you guys can join the official No Bad Dog Members Club and support the movement. The link is in the description below.
And what you want to do is really just work on the information that you're giving. So it's okay if he looks like there, like that's good, that's cool. That's a perfect example of less is more. So as these 1, 2, 3, 4 people, 5 people plus a dog are walking and his back is towards them, and as an insecure or just a dog in general, he turns around to check him out to make sure he's not about to get ambushed. It's okay for that to happen, because if you're pushing against things that really aren't fair to push against for any dog, it's gonna make things worse. A lot of people get into fix-it mode. Your leash is up here and over here. We're kind of like this. And then our shoulders are kind of like leaned down towards the dog. Our voice is going to the dog, and then our head is going towards the dog, which tells the dog all of this information of, what are you going to do? And I'm worried about this. Okay. So when you go forward with him, just tell him to heel, and then when you're ready to break him, you just say break.
So break is pretty much any time you stop, I guess.
Break, no, not necessarily. Break, because right now you're stopped and he doesn't look like he's in a break. Break is essentially, you can be a dog, you can do what you want. Okay. But it has to be on your terms. Right. Because if it's not on your terms, then again, he's crawling back into the driver's seat. Dad, get in the back, I got this. Right. So when you're out with your dog and you say heel, they should go, okay, I know what this means. I have to walk nicely next to mom or dad. We're in a heel, oh, they're turning. Okay, I gotta stay in this position. And they basically have to stay in this invisible circle next to your left leg. And then when you say break, they can go out of that circle. They can go pee, they can go poop, they can sniff, they can say hello, but it has to be on your terms. That alone will create more confidence with him in particular, because he knows what he can do and he knows what he can't do. So Kyle's gonna ask his dog to do certain things, and then once you hear that break command, you'll see the dog go, okay, I'm done with you. So you see how distinctive that break is? So the reason why we're demonstrating Tuco and Kyle is that's where you're starting right here. When you ask your dog to sit and then they get up and they dance around, that's not happening here. When we say sit to Tuco, he butt hits the ground and he's gonna sit there until we break the dog. All of our staff dogs can do things like that without any equipment, without any food, without any rewards. Just do it. And they're like, sure, because I know better and you told me to do it. We've created that relationship on accountability and asking dogs to do things with full
that's the
meaning.
goal, right? Where you just ask and they know what to do and do it.
If you guys like this video, do me a solid favor and support the channel by liking this video and leave a comment in the comments below.
Carlo, I'd slow down a little bit. Just take your time. The faster you go, the faster your dog will work. So if he's doing good, let him know.
Good boy. Good heel. Good heel, boo.
this is more for you guys at this point than it is for him, because he's doing great. You just have to, yeah, see? You just gotta
Be aware.
Yeah, be aware, that's all. So I'll show you, like with these guys, you could come up here and you have a proximity, right?
Yeah.
And you know that proximity of what is gonna be okay for your dog in particular. So you can even go a little bit over that proximity with your body. So like he's telling us like where he's comfortable, right? So when you come out like this and you're walking up towards somebody and you stop, sit. Good. You can also just do something like this. Hi. Good, how are you? Good. So you could do something like this too, where you can have the dog here, you can talk to another person,
Right.
But if you were to snap a picture and ask yourself like who's in charge right here,
Right.
it would be not even a question, right? But if we were like here, or even like here with an insecure dog, so you just take control of that space with your body. Guys, go ahead and try it. Just try it with these guys over here with the puppy. Good sit, much better. And that's how you would just kind of block out that space.
Okay.
You know, like if you're meeting somebody and you're just unsure, especially like when you get somebody you don't know what they're gonna do,
Yeah.
and they don't have a dog and they're kind of eyeing, you just kind of,
What if there was no dog and she wanted to pet him?
it's a very quick like, oh, sorry, my dog's in training.
Okay.
And to be honest, when you're out with a reactive dog that is not gonna do well with meeting new people, I just try not to make eye contact with anybody. You just keep going.
Okay.
You keep walking and you kind of just smile as you go. But if somebody's like, oh, can I pet your dog? It's just, oh, he's in training. And you just kind of go away. I know that it was hard to believe that you were gonna be able to get to this point.
Yeah.
And once you get there, you have to like really soak it in. So, and enjoy it and understand that this is your new norm, and it certainly could be your new norm, as long as you continue to do the things that you need to do. But that was amazing. I mean, that, like I was saying to these guys, it was like 8 to 9 other dogs, you know, board and train, cycling in and out, all new people. You guys, you know, just walked in and crushed it. I didn't hear a peep out of them. But I think the only time you're really gonna see him react is if you're not advocating for him as much. And I think that there's also this culture that we have to understand. You know, there's certain environments, like last night, there's a new brewery like 10 minutes down the road from my house. We went there and it was just dogs everywhere. And I think when you're in that environment, you would assume, okay, these dogs are all friendly, and that would, I think that would be okay. But when you're out and you're walking and you're just in the city and people are trying to approach, it's a very easy just, hey, he's in training.
When we came in, I was really nervous. I was actually anxious the night before we came in because I wasn't sure how he was going to be and if we'd be able to handle him in front of any other people, let alone any dogs. I had to trust the process. We talked about this every night when we were leaving, you know, trusting the process and knowing that if we built our confidence the way Tom had trained us, then his confidence would build. I'm completely impressed and I feel armed, you know. I feel like I've been armed from Tom on how to be, from like the way I walk with my shoulders to how we have to hold him accountable. I feel more powerful, and I never walked Blue. Like I never would walk him, and now I feel like, I mean, we just had a session with like 10 dogs and I feel like I can walk him.
Yeah, I mean, I always knew he was an insecure dog, and it's one of those things that just over time, it just slowly becomes worse and worse, and then you realize like, oh, we can't have people over. Oh, like we can't really go out during the daytime because he's too reactive. And I think Tom just gave us the tools and how to have him understand that we're in charge, kind of how to speak his language a little bit more.
Yeah, that's the fundamental shift. We weren't in charge, he was. And we didn't realize that. We thought we were in charge, but we weren't. So I'm, constantly worried about the dogs. Of course, he's going to be worried. And so to know that I also think it's amazing. This is another thing that we have these harnesses and all these things, and I never would have thought I could have control over him just around his neck. And just the way Tom has taught us, like it's not hurting him. You do a quick pop, you redirect, and he's very responsive to it. And he's not dead on the floor because we popped his collar a little bit. So I think that's the fundamental shift in our minds, that we have to be in control for him, and he has to know that.
I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Click here to subscribe to my channels to see more videos just like this.